Well, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are wrapping up the talk of the town in such a magnificent way because Bob Perry has joined me in the studio. And I know I've been talking with you, Bob, every time we meet someplace around, and you and Carl talk about guardian ad litems. And you, of course, are so active in that. You gave me your card, and of course, it was Voices for Children.
Yes.
And that's what really took my heart.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, boy, oh boy, that is such a wonderful, wonderful organization. And what you do in collaboration with GAL, Guardian Ad Litem.
Right.
We're going to talk about that. But before we even go into that, I would love, in fact, it was funny when I wrote you and I said, well, now, Bob, give me the title. Are you president? Are you CEO? Are you window washer? What are you now? And you, of course, explained to me all these different things, but you were an advocate for abused and neglected children more than anything else in the world through the Guardian Ad Litem program.
Correct.
But you are also president of this program's nonprofit Voices for Children. So, Bob, it is wonderful, as I said, to have you here in the studio. And I'd really love to talk a little bit about really what both organizations are, the Voices for Children and also Guardian Ad Litem.
Well, in a sense, Marcia, they're two halves of the same whole. The Guardian Ad Litem program is a state agency. It's administered out of Tallahassee, and guardians, of course, are volunteer child advocates. The program is underfunded by the state of Florida, quite candidly. It's no secret. And because of that, each of the 20 judicial circuits in the state of Florida has not just a Guardian Ad Litem office, but each office has a supporting nonprofit that raises money to offset sort of the shortfall that's needed. And that shortfall can be substantial.
Why would an organization like that is helping abused and neglected children be underfunded by our government?
Yeah, I think I don't know the specifics as to how they assess these budgetary needs and why things and how things are approved, but I will say this. The number of kids in dependency just seems to keep rising, and I think a big part of the answer is tied directly to a big part of the problem. There are just so many children now who have been abused, neglected, or abandoned, and they're finding their way into the system for their own protection and well-being, and it's hard to keep up. There are better than, I think, 30,000 children right now in the state of Florida that are in dependency. Oh. And it's a horrible number.
It is a horrible number, and it breaks your heart because obviously I have heard about some of them in such a horrible, horrendous way because Carl, of course, with Guardian Ad Litem,
yes.
You don't hear all the specifics because that's not appropriate. But when you think that even one, when you hear the horrendous things that child has been through, what they have seen, what they have, are we doing anything about Are we doing anything about it?
Quite a bit, but one thing I will say is, I didn't grow up in this arena. Actually, it was quite foreign to me when I entered retirement, and I was looking for a new reason to get out of bed in the morning. And I certainly found it in the Guardian Ad Litem program because, like you, I'm sure, I believe that all children come into this world precious and innocent and blameless, and they deserve love, encouragement, and opportunity, and they don't all get it. So here was a chance to, as a pastor once said in one of the sermons I heard, he said, maybe you can't change the world, but we can all change the world of one child. And it's proven to be just that. I must tell you, the Guardian Ad Litem program works on a team concept. There's a best interest attorney. There's a case manager, a child advocacy manager, and then the guardian, who's a volunteer. And in tandem, we get to know that child and we advocate for the best interest of that child. And we do it, I think, with integrity and fair-mindedness and also with aggression.
And very personally, because you're right there, you watch it, you see it. Voices for Children, of course, the other organization that collaborates with this, that to me, just that statement, because Guardian Ad Litem, okay, that looks to me very legal and all of that kind of stuff. But Voices for Children, I have to tell you, that's what those children need. They need a voice that will speak for them. And that's what the Guardian Ad Litem program does.
Absolutely.
With the Voices for Children.
Yeah, when you realize that, the whole program started way back in the 70s by a judge who was very frustrated because he was having to make very important decisions about children's futures with very little information. The child was the only party to the case that didn't have a voice in court.
Yeah. Oh.
So that gave rise to the Guardian Ad Litem program, or something similar to it. There's variations of the model in 49 states and the District of Columbia. And you're right. We've had judges tell us that ours is the voice they most want to hear in the courtroom. And that's because we're volunteers. We're not getting paid with an end objective in mind. We are simply advocating for the best interest of the child. And
After a great deal of research, too.
Yeah,
You've seen the child, you've communicated
regularly.
with the child, and
Yeah.
which is part of the requirements as well.
Yes.
Because how many children did you say do we have about
in
now?
the state,
Uh-huh.
just over 30,000. I think was the last number that I saw. I can tell you in Indian River County.
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, there are exactly 196 children in dependency, of which 183 have been assigned to the guardian ad litem program.
All right, when you say independency,
Yeah, that means
they are in
they've been sheltered, either from one
taken
parent
away
or
from their
both.
parents. Yes.
Well, in some cases, yes. In some cases, they do remain with a parent. They're sheltered from maybe just the father or just the mother.
What are the ages we're talking about?
Up to the age of 18, from newborn.
From newborn. Oh, golly.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. But now, if there may be people out there, when we think about some of the qualifications to really be a member of guardian ad litem, what would that be?
Actually, almost anyone, if you're 21 years of age and can pass a background check and you have a heart for children, you've got the basic qualifications to be a guardian ad litem volunteer.
Oh, boy, and it is so important. I can tell you, you've got to have a heart for it, though. If once you go in there and because you meet with the parents as well, don't you? Or the one parent, or where they're, or the foster parents. You meet with everybody.
You meet with everybody. I must say, though, as a gal volunteer, you're coming into the case after the child is in dependency, basically has been removed from the situation, or the problematic person has been removed from their life. So you're not really dealing with that trauma and that drama. You are focusing on the child. And you're going to be looking at how's the child doing? Do they have any special needs, any special services that are required? How are they doing in school? And if they're not doing well, you're going to meet with their teacher or principal or guidance counselor or therapist or all of the above.
So it's all about that child.
Oh, absolutely.
All about the
It's laser
child.
focused on the child. That's all we
Oh,
we
boy.
have to be certain that we do not allow ourselves to get drawn into alliances. Families have their issues in
Oh,
these
absolutely.
situations.
It is interesting that you say that too, because I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'd get so angry. I would get so angry at what when you hear about what a child has been through
Yeah.
and what he has seen, and then you want, or he or she, and it could be an infant, a teeny tiny 1-week-old baby, right on up into, as you say, 18 years of age.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about the number of children in our community in Indian River County, what about volunteers? You need volunteers for this?
Currently,
Or how can they help is really...
There are 82 guardian ad litem volunteers in Indian River County at the moment. I'm pleased to say that representation of the children in Indian River is really quite good compared to the state average. Statewide, it's about 70%. But here, of the 183 children who have been assigned to the guardian ad litem program, 161 do have a dedicated advocate. It's
And
a
the
very high
advocate
percentage.
can go before the judge and sit into the courtroom, can't they?
Oh, we testify in court. Yeah,
Because you've done a great deal of you go and you check with the where they are, what the child is looking like, and you do that periodically. I mean, that's a requirement as well.
We do. Usually about 3 or 4 times a year. There are certain mandatory types of hearings that we have to appear at. And,
But I mean, checking with the child.
every 30 days.
That's what I was going to
at
say.
least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In their own surroundings. It could be in the Hibiscus Children's Center. It could be wherever. It could be in the foster home.
Yeah.
It could be, I remember hearing one person that was this is before I even knew what guardian ad litem was, and someone said that they were going to check on this child because he had been in foster care, and that the parent or grandparent, I think, that wanted to give it up, said because she turned around in the car and he was eating her lunch and she just wouldn't put up with that. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, but you hear things like that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I don't think this was even guardian ad litem. It was just, it was one of those situations that you hear and you wonder, and the age. But if someone is listening out there right now, Bob Perry, and ladies and gentlemen, I am speaking with Bob Perry. He is a volunteer with our not only guardian ad litem, but certainly you are president of the wonderful organization, which I love to say the name, Voice for Children.
Yes, we try to be exactly that. Voices for Children is the fundraising arm, if you will, and we have a bifurcated mission. We raise funds primarily to help ensure 100% advocacy, because a child with a guardian ad litem is half as likely to languish in foster care, that much more likely to find a safe, permanent home. They're much more likely to be adopted. They are much more likely to do better in school and have postgraduate aspirations, to receive more needed services, whatever they may be, to spend less time in foster care and have fewer foster placements. So it's critically important that we help the program to recruit and train and retain volunteers. But the mission is bifurcated. The second part of that is life happens to these children. And there are things that maybe you and I that never had to think about when we were children. If we wanted to go on a class field trip, the money was there. If we wanted to attend our high school graduation and the cap and gown cost $60, the money was there. For these children, very often it's not. And there's no one in the foster care system or in their immediate families who have the means and the wherewithal to step up and provide those things. So we send children to summer camp. We send them to class field trips.
And you pay for all of that, too. So we need donations.
Exactly. We raise money for that. And I'm pleased to say we are really on a trajectory that is very, very healthy right now. We are getting out in the community more. We've got a couple of events that we've established. And they've
Do you have one coming
successful.
up that we can talk about in these last 30 seconds?
I will tell you this.
And how people can donate?
Yes, you can donate by going on our website, www.voicesforchildrenotc.org. And it'll lead you to something called Galp House. They are friends of the Guardian Ad Litem program. Galp House is a micro-giving campaign, and you can give as little as $5 a month or whatever you choose to do. Our average is about $17.
Well, boy, let me tell you, if they can just keep up with what you all are doing, they will want to donate consistently, because that is what we need. We need to get these children so that, as you say, you're a great spokesman as well, Bob Perry, and I want to thank you so much for coming on. We need to do this more frequently to let people know what in the world is happening. So once again, the website where they can find you?
www.voicesforchildren, all spelled out, otc.org.
Great. Thanks so very much. And ladies and gentlemen, always remember, say your prayers, brush your teeth, say please and thank you, no sir, yes ma'am, and always tell those you love that you do.